All right, hello YouTube. I thought I would finish up reviewing. Uh, I thought I would finish up reviewing the Venom trilogy, and I thought I would review Venom 3, the or also Venom, The Last Dance. So um, this one I actually skipped. I actually skipped this one, believe it or not, in the like when it was in theaters. Um, why did I skip it? I am not entirely sure. Um, I'm not entirely sure why I decided to skip this one. I guess I just did. Um, I guess I just did. But anyway, yes, um, this is the final film in the Venom trilogy. And the premise of this one basically is so it basically picks up where, Let There Be Carnage left off. It picks up with them, now, you know, uh, they are on, well, first off, Venom, Eddie Brock and Venom are now fugitives because of their actions in the last movie. And um, they are now being hunted by both their worlds. And so basically pretty much, like everybody and their mother basically now, like wants a piece of them. Um and they are being hunted, by both their worlds. And um the story, I in terms of story, I don't really have a lot to say um regarding the story, because the story is just, I'm not gonna lie, the story is just such a mess. The story is kind of a mess in this one. It's just, like all over the place, um and it's just kind of, like jumbled, and um doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, you have a new character. What the hell's the guy's name? Um it's uh I can't even pronounce the guy's name, but whoever played Mordo in the first Doctor Strange movie, is he is in this movie as I think like a military, kind of like a military guy that is obviously, he's after Venom, he's after, Eddie Brock. And then you have Juno Temple's character, whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, but she is one of the scientists um, in this movie, like analyzing, who is studying, symbiotes and stuff like that, doing, like various like experiments and stuff like that. Um, it's a The story is, like I said, it's very jumbled together. It's very, very messy. Um, the tone of the movie is, some people said, uh some people said when talking about the movie that this one is more like on the silly side. I did not at all get that impression. um I did not at all get that impression from this one. This one is very much in tone with the first two. Some moments in the movie are a little bit more humorous than others. However, it is not. Um, however, the movie itself, like the overall tone of the movie and just the overall, um, like just like the overall tone of the movie, the overall, style of the movie, it's very much on par with, the last two. So if you liked 1 and 2, you will like this one. Um, um, Null is and Venom is um, and the big the big thing in this in this movie is Null, um who is, if you read the Donny Cates Venom run, you will know who that is. But he is the god of the symbiotes. He is the creator of he is Venom's creator and creator of the symbiotes. Um and you don't actually see too much of him in this movie. He's very much, like in the background. Um he's very much like in the background in this one. You don't see too much of him in this one. But from what I understand, he Andy Serkis, who plays Null in this movie, from what I understand, he has a multi-film contract. So from what I understand, he will be in we will be seeing more of him in the future, from what I understand. Um so what we saw of him in Venom 3, what little screen time he had, from what I understand, we will be seeing more of him in the future. I know that they were setting up um if you saw the post-credit scene for Let There Be Carnage, um that they were sort of that they were setting them up, or that Sony was setting them up, uh was setting that thing up, for Spider-Man and Venom to cross over at some point. So um and it has apparently, and last I heard, Tom Holland Spider-Man 4 is going to be another multiverse story. So he very well could be appearing. We very well could be seeing him in Spider-Man 4. Um, from what I hear, that is obviously, I have nothing to back that up right now. Um, but given that given that last I heard, Spider-Man 4 is going to be another multiverse, story, to me at least, that would make the most sense. Um, but yeah, anyway, he is very much in the background in this movie. You don't see too much of him, but he is pursuing um, Venom. And the character development is really another thing that this movie lacks. The guy that played, Mordo in the first Doctor Strange, we don't really get to see too much of his character in the movie. There's a little bit of him. I want to say, like in the beginning of the movie, and then towards the end of the movie, we see a little bit more of him. Um, and honestly, I would have liked to have seen more of his character. Uh, for this movie, I really, really would have liked to have seen him get, more screen time, and really get, I would have liked to have seen him, you know, I, I would have liked to have seen, more screen time with him, and gotten to know, like his character a little bit more, because I think that um, I think he could have been a really, really, um, he could have been a really, really compelling character if, had he gotten, like more screen time, if he had gotten, more screen time, and he were written better. Um, I mean, his performance was fine for what it was, but I would have liked to have, I just would have. Sorry, guys, I can't talk today. I would have liked to have seen more of him. Um, um, this movie, it does. Some people thought that this was the best Venom movie in the trilogy, and I gotta say, and honestly, I think it is. I mean, I don't want to give away, like any major plot points or anything, but well, I don't want to give away, like any, like cool surprises or anything like that, um, but yeah, no, it was. I will say, I will say, I had the most fun with this one compared to. Um, this is the one that I had the most fun with. It is just, while the plot, um, is pretty, like incohesive and is very much, like all over the place. Um, the tone of the movie, um, though it is, very consistent with the other two movies, is also kind of a mess. Um, because you have a lot of scenes where, um, you have a lot of scenes when, like for example, uh, you have some scenes, where it's trying to be funny and then it's trying to be serious, and it just kind of like flip flops back and forth, between the two, and it almost like it doesn't know like what kind of movie it wants to be, if that makes any sense. Um, but one thing I will say is, um, honestly, out of this one, I will say this one actually got me. This movie actually does a great job at getting the audience to really care about like what happens to Eddie Brock, like what happens to Venom. You don't know. Um, the emotional scenes do a really good job at portraying. Um, the emotional scenes do a really good job at portraying. Um, you know, basically at portraying, like what, like you don't know, like if y- you don't know, for example, like if they're gonna make it out alive or not. Um, Obviously, I won't tell you whether they do or not. Um, but that was something um that I thought they did a really, really good job with. Um, at portraying moments like that. Um, and and Tom Hardy as Venom. I mean, they could not have gotten a better. They could not have gotten a better actor to play Venom. Uh, I think I said this in my review for the first movie, but when a Venom trilogy, was first announced, obviously my biggest, concern was, well, actually two things actually, and I said this already, but obviously my two biggest concerns were, how is Venom going to look and who's going to play him? And because obviously Sony did because obviously Sony did Venom dirty in Spider-Man 3. Um, so that was obviously those were obviously, my two biggest main concerns. Um, and Sony completely, um, those were the two things that Sony just completely nailed, was Venom's design and, Tom Hardy's performance as Venom. Um, Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, no, it's a overall it's just a fun, um it's just a fun it's just a fun movie. It's There's a really cool shot in the movie, um and this isn't really a spoiler because this is they showed this scene in like all the trailers. One of my favorite scenes in the movie was actually when they're riding on the horse and Venom goes and Eddie Brock goes, "Do you think you can, do you think that you can do you think that you can, make this horse go faster without without killing it?" And so you literally have, like Eddie Brock riding on a Venom, riding on, like a Venom type, or you have Eddie Brock riding on a Venom horse, basically, because obviously, the Venom symbiote is, uh, has taken over, this horse, and it's a really, really, it's one of the best scenes in the movie. I think it was a very, very well choreographed, very, 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 very well directed action sequence. And I will say that is one of the that is one of the departments that this movie really, really shines in, is the action sequences in this movie. I think are some of the best that we've seen in these, are, in the three, Venom movies. Um, there is a post credit scene for Venom 3. It's obviously with Null. Null shows up at the very end, at the very end of the post credit scene. Obviously teasing, that we are going to see him again, that this isn't, his only movie. Um, but yeah, no, despite the inconsistency of, of the plot and the story, um, and and stuff like that, I honestly, it was just a, again, it's just a really, really fun, good time. It's a and it is, it is just a really, really fun, good time. And if you're, and like I said, if you enjoyed the first two, I guarantee you're going to love this one. I really think that this was the best one in the trilogy. I really, really do. Um, just because, the action sequences and, a lot of the things, that they, uh, I don't want to give away, the final act, but um, the final act is just awesome. The final act is just, all I'll say, the only thing I'll say is Venom is, Eddie Brock and Venom are not the only ones. Um, Eddie Brock and Venom, are not the only ones at the end of the, uh, at the end of the movie. I'll say that. That's all I'm gonna say. That they're not the only ones. Um, they're not the only ones. Uh, they're not the only ones, trying to save the world at the end of, in the final act. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, no, but yeah, no, this is definitely very, very much worth seeing. Again, if you love Venom, if you liked the first two movies, you will enjoy the hell out of this one. Um, anyway, so yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've seen it and what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.